Bill here with the Metals Minute. Today is Monday, July 25th, 2022. Have a lot of financial reporting due out this week. We have consumer confidence numbers that'll be refreshed. They've been trending lower, but we'll see how they come out today. Kind of concerned about that because we had a report over the weekend that 45% of small business owners are implementing a hiring freeze due to the impact of labor expenses and higher inflation. They don't feel that they can hire anymore, and sometimes they're just shifting the workload to existing employees, and so that's something to keep an eye on. We also have growth numbers that are due out later this week, and that will indicate whether or not we have had two consecutive quarters of negative results. Traditionally, the reason this is important, traditionally that's been the definition of a recession, whenever you have two consecutive quarters of negative or very marginal growth. So it's interesting that out of Washington now we have new definitions being lined up for recession. Not so much telling us what a recession is, but just trying to massage the meaning of it to say that, well, just because it's always been a recession in the past doesn't mean that it is now when the same thing happens. So we'll see how that matures as we go along. Keep in mind we've seen this play used before with inflation, and they've adjusted the meaning and the definition and the calculations for inflation several times over the years. And the result of that is we have today the official inflation rate as it's calculated now is at 9.1%. But when you look at how it originally was calculated, or even as recently as 1980, that number is higher than 17. So almost double, almost half, depending on if we use the method that most people have used for a long time. In fact, the method that indicates the real life experience that Americans have versus the official number, which is half as much as that. So we'll see what they do with inflation. We also have an important announcement by the Federal Reserve coming up on Wednesday concerning interest rates. A lot of speculation there. I'm anticipating 0.75%, but we'll keep you posted on that. One other interesting bit of news that you may not have heard about, we discuss it in more detail in the longer article this week, but there are new trading systems being implemented not only by, we're all familiar with China and Russia, and they've announced a new reserve currency they're working on. But not considering that, I'm talking about friendly nations that are traditionally trading friends of the United States, and in fact nations we've had military agreements with. They are beginning to make non-dollar transactions among themselves, not as a means of animosity towards the United States, just as a matter of convenience. And so this is, we have the Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and these are the five of the largest economies in the Pacific zone that are, obviously China is the largest, but other than China, these are the five largest trading partners that we're friendly with in the Pacific, and they're beginning to just do electronic transactions amongst themselves between central banks without using dollars. And their plan is to expand that and make it easier with other regional currencies and other regional trading systems without using the dollar. So we discuss in more detail what that means for the future of dollar usage and inflation for those of us living here in the United States and what we can do about it. Interestingly, we see our Treasury curve between the 30-year and the 10-year Treasury is at an inflection point, which traditionally The last 4 times it's happened, like it is right now, we've seen gold begin to move higher. And so there's nothing we'll hear in the news this week that will indicate anything other than that will occur again. And so keep an eye on that. We'll try to keep you posted. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week.